Yeah, more rubbish from mainstream media. So, okay, so apparently, half of teenagers will never marry according to... Always remember the never, in capital letters, will never marry according to think tank, which say youngsters are falling out of love with saying, I do. Okay, 57% of girls and 55% of boys currently aged 13 to 18 will become a wife or husband later in life. Now, there's a very big... plunged virtually to zero, with just 8% of women and 4% of men in that age group getting married. There's a very good reason for this. There's a very, very good reason. Okay? Because they're young and they know just how stupid it is to be married at such a young age. Because you haven't got your life in check when you're young. You haven't got everything in place. Most people who marry young, you know, they struggle. You know, they can't pay for their kids and stuff. They struggle because they still are at the early stages of, you know, jobs. I mean, again, they're talking about marriage to 13 to 18-year-olds. Are they talking more to 13-year-olds than 18-year-olds, or are they talking to 18-year-olds more than 13-year-olds? How, like, again, they're 13 and 18. They're not going to care about marriage just yet. They're going to care more about getting a job and getting their studies done, for goodness sake, more than marriage, you know. And yeah, sure, there may be relationships, but they're still taking, you know, they're still dipping in the water still. They're testing the waters. Not, like, marriage is a long way away. That is why they're not interested in marriage. Because they know if they marry young, they're going to struggle. And they're not going to give the kid the best life, you know, the best childhood that they can possibly get. When they're more wiser and more mature, then they will marry. Simple as. You know, yeah. Like, among people now in their 60s, 91% of women and 86% of men have chosen marriage. That's because they're older. Oh my goodness me. Like, marriage increases when you get older. Relationship education is more about sex. No, okay, relationship education is about more than sex. Okay, right. The figures are in stark contrast to those of the same age bracket back in 1970, because most of them were hippies. Like, for goodness sake, back in 1970. Most college students were hippies. We all know what a hippie culture is. Drugs, sex, all that kind of stuff. But kids these days are like, well, okay, we've seen what, like, the older generation did, and, well, it didn't really go that well, you know. Oh my god. We should be also recognising marriage in a more favourable... Okay, yeah. You know, okay, I kind of agree with that. Like, and it's also because of failure of marriages. Like, they're growing up and they probably only got one mum. They've only got their mum, not their father, because they've split up early in life. Why would... Like, with that just destroys your view of marriage, because you're like, well, you're not exactly going to be together forever, are you? Like, so what's the point? You know, it's it's all down to the fact that they're young, so they don't really care about marriage that much. 2, because their parents are usually divorcing, and so they're like, well, what's the point? And 3, they're more caring about, studies and getting a job first. Why is that a bad thing? So we should have more teenage marriages? Oh well, congratulations with having 5 children by, it's just stupid. Like, you should not be thinking about marriage when you're a teenager. I just don't, Like, you should be caring more about studying, getting a job, and then, thinking about marriage when you're being successful. When you have the income to support, your wife and your children. Why is that a bad thing? Like, just stupid articles like this. The fact that this article exists is just ridiculous. Wow, what a big shock. Youngsters aren't cared about, marriages yet. Wow. Wow, oh my goodness, what shock. Like, it's simple common knowledge. Youngsters don't care about marriages yet. Okay, so that's all I just want to say. But again, mainstream media making useless articles, as always.